Like, take us through that whole thing from your viewpoint.
Yeah, I mean, we had a couple different things that we were doing, and we got a certain look, so I killed the play, and then, it's a little bit challenging. I haven't seen the film and whatever, but I wish I could have that one back and secure the snap and get in the end zone there. But it's hard to really comment on it right now, having not seen it and everything else. But yeah, that was a disappointing play. Look, at the end of the day, it was a disappointing game. We had plenty of opportunities as a team, as an offense, to put us in a great situation to win that game, and we didn't capitalize on that. So that's a hard thing to swallow at this point. I think that there are some good things to build on, obviously. It's nice that we're down in the red zone and putting ourselves in situations to go score, and, we got to find ways to finish.
Taysom, talk about the fourth down play. Was that a design pass, or was that something that you decided that?
I did not decide to just throw that on my own. Yeah, it was a design pass play.
What did you see?
I mean, look, there's no secret, right? When I'm at quarterback, we run the ball a lot, and we've done different things throughout the course of my career, and we were counting on a heavy box, and look, they made a good play, and we were trying to sneak Bailey out to the corner, and they made a good play.
You talk about some of the frustration with the red zone in particular. What was it that sort of created troubles there?
I mean, again, it's a little bit challenging right now. You get into the game, and it's hard to give you a really good answer, frankly, having not seen the tape. But I'm trying to think through the drives. I think we had plenty of opportunities, right? And it's not like they were negative plays. We had the one negative play that turned into intentional grounding, but certainly you'd like to feel like we can score from the 1 yard line, and that's a tough yard to gain down there. But I mean, it's hard to give you a great answer. I think maybe. I think we could all play with lower pad level. We were obviously trying to, we ran a sneak down there, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's really the first thing that comes to mind. We had some missed opportunities on the.
Is it more frustrating in a game like this when to walk away from a game like this when you have that many shots?
Yeah. Look, nobody feels good about this game. The first 24 hours are hard. Right now is a little bit hard because we had plenty of opportunities to get that done, and we didn't do that. So I'm not trying to all of a sudden feel great about this, but I think when you take a step back, there are some great things that we did and are encouraging. But again, your next question is, well, it's week 12 or 13 or whatever it is, and we should have that figured out by now. But look, Atlanta's a good team, and those guys get paid too, and they did a good job, and we knew that about them. They were an aggressive front, penetrating front, and they rely on some negative plays that way, and are aggressive in their scheme up front. But yeah, this was a hard one to swallow.
Taysom, do you see, it's like the type of season that it has been, big games, opportunities, but it just continues to fight. It just comes up short.
Yeah, sorry. What was the question?
Do you feel like the season, it's kind of like in that way? I mean, you've been in so many games.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's again, nobody feels good about our record right now, but it's one of those things as a competitor and as a player, you can't let circumstances dictate how you prepare, the effort that you put into it, the film that you put out there, and as you have conversations in the locker room, right? That's really the conversation, because at the end of the day, nobody cares what your record is, right? When you put film on, that stuff that's out there forever. And I think the leadership, the locker room has been really good about managing that, and guys are in it and guys are competing, and man, I love that locker room and really appreciate what everyone's doing in there.
Taysom, when Alvin goes out, like you did, does that put more on you than like a running back, or does your role kind of change?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. There was a lot of things that I ended up doing today that I had zero time on task doing, and that's the nature of the NFL and the numbers game that you end up playing. But yeah, when he went down, I spent a little extra time with the running backs coach trying to figure out some things schematically and find ways to help Dev out there too.
How do you think Tyler's coming along in terms of what he's learning and doing in his first year?
How do I think about
Just being in the huddle,
Yeah.
him and what he's learning?
I think Tyler's done a really nice job. I think Tyler's in it. You feel his presence. You feel confidence with him in the huddle, and he knows what's going on. He's put the time and energy in to learn the system and understand the intricacies of what's going on and where his eyes need to be, and you feel that from him. And he's got a really positive, great presence, in the huddle and at the line of scrimmage. And I think that's something that, as a fan base, as media, if you watch him play, you can feel that. But, as a teammate and in the locker room with him, you feel that as well. And I think he's made some really, nice plays over the course of the 3 games that he's been playing. And, we have conversations, and the nature of that position is, it's challenging. But as you look at an NFL game, so often the game boils down to a few plays, and I feel like Tyler has done a nice job of making, these 50-50 plays, and I really appreciate the time that he's put into it, and he's progressed, really well.
Taysom, almost a year removed from the injury. Has this season gone how you expected?
No.
As you personally, yes, obviously
Yeah.
not but when you got back on the field that first time, kind of like,
Sure.
did you have a vision of how the season might play out, and what's been your?
Yeah, I mean, I think as things relate to me, this season and this year, it was kind of like a perfect storm with a new coaching staff, a new scheme, a new offense, and I was out. So the first opportunity that I had to be coached by, this staff, and for this staff to see me, was week 5. My first practice with them was on Wednesday, and we practiced and pads on Wednesday, and practiced Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We had a walkthrough Saturday. We played in the first game, So I think that it was one of those things that I became so hyper-focused on how can I, expedite, my rehab as quickly as I can. And I think the rest of it was, I didn't really have a lot of expectations, Certainly I had conversations with Kellen and what that was going to look like as I was preparing to come back. But, we're still in a process of learning together, and what my role will be week to week in this offense. So I don't know that I had any real expectation. I was just so hyper focused on getting healthy and being available.
Here's my poorly worded question. I was just curious, those types of injuries, does it get, sometimes they say like it takes more than certain months, certain amount of years to be the player they were before the injury. And do you feel like you're getting better as the season goes on? Like,
yeah, no, it's a really fair question. And the reality is, coming out of surgery, it was kind of like, hey, I think you'll be ready to play November, December. And I think it's one of those things that you don't realize how bad you felt maybe a month ago, and I think it's one of those things that I'll continue to feel better, throughout the season. And as you mentioned, I'm coming up on had surgery December 17th. And, through all my conversations with other people that have gone through this with surgeons, it's, man, you're going to continue to feel better throughout the rest of this season. But I feel... Personally, I feel confident in my knee. I feel confident in fulfilling, the responsibilities that I'm asked on the field. So I don't feel like I'm lacking, as a result of this injury. But I also don't know how I'm going to feel in a month, too.
Going back to the conversation with Joel Thomas, I know you can only take us so far inside that conversation.
Sure.
But how does that go? Like, is that hey, this is what I'm comfortable doing?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's obviously things that I've done throughout my career that I'm familiar with, and so it's finding the balance of saying, hey, these are things that I've done in the past, and it fits our game plan already, and there's obviously things that we had game planned for that we didn't need to have any additional conversations about. But, there was a few plays that I ran today that I had 0 reps at doing, but it was quick conversation, and look, I think you play enough football and you can scheme different things up, but, especially as a runner, you rely so much on instincts, and that's really what happened tonight, today, I guess.